he didn't fit into the.
I think he couldn't have fitted in anywhere, even in Russia, so to say, or in India. So he was
Because he was a unique, because
unique.
he was just.
A saint.
Yeah.
I can use the word saint. He was a saint, man. He was
Yeah.
saintly.
Can I
Of
just
course.
add something?
Can I
Of course.
there's somebody at the front. Oh, okay. Can we just take the one?
Because what I'm doing here is
I'd
that
like to answer.
I think there's a
Okay.
problem with the word because we use the word politics at a point, and all the people, all the activities. Gandhi is a politician. Mao is a politician. What you are just saying that he's not a politician because I will describe myself as a politician. Anybody who believes in changing the life of people for what he believes on principles, which I'm sure your father is a person of principles, because the person you've just described, I mean, from what I've read or heard here, we are talking about a great man that lived on principle. Probably his principles did not, their principles, those who took the government at that time, probably the principles could not work together. And so they could not work together. But when we say it's not a politician, then it becomes, because politics is not about lies. It's about the truth. Like some of us are saying, Jesus is a politician, Muhammad is a politician, because he came to change things to make a better life for others. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to add to. I think you raised a very pertinent issue, and I hope when I spoke, I was very careful in not giving a perverse connotation to the word African when I used that word. There was no racism. Makhan Singh was not the only person who was sidelined. We know Bildad Kagia.
He was.
We know I just his name. No, Fred Kubai I've already named, but there was Bildad Kagia, and also Oneko. You know, they were all sidelined in a particular time. Kenya was not the place for such people at that particular juncture. Now, that is the enigma. What happened to Kenya? You know, where did Kenya, which road did Kenya follow? Makhan Singh's great contribution is probably to trade unionism. What's the state of trade unionism in Kenya today? It's defunct, essentially. What's happened to trade unions? Where is the power of the ordinary man in Kenya? So these are the enigmas which provide the context in which a person like Makhan Singh, but not only just Makhan Singh, there's Bildad Kagia, there's Zoneko, there is Fred Kubai. All these people have to be evaluated.
We have a couple more questions. One at the front. Sorry, can we take the?
I don't know, but I think Amin was before me.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yes, I just want to say that I was 14 years of age coming from school, and everybody was lined up in the streets in a particular area of Nairobi where a lot of the Asians used to live. And we saw this procession of trucks and cars and whatnot, jeeps or Land Rovers, and inside was Makhan Singh. I was only 14. I didn't know anything about him, but I do remember that occasion. The other thing I do remember is among the Indian community who largely employed a lot of the labor in certain fields, not so much in industry, but sort of in small capacities. There was always this issue raised about the cost of labor going up as a result of Indians agitating Africans to up their wages. And I do remember that, and I'm sure the fingers were pointed at Makhan Singh by a lot of the Asian businessmen who felt that he was a threat to the Asian community in some sense. I want to come into the sphere of modern times. Is that in 1992, I traveled to Kenya during the euphoria of democracy after some real harsh years that the Kenyans experienced under Daniel Arap Moi. And during that time, I was fortunate enough to meet Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, who was once the vice president of Kenya. And he and a number of other people, associates of him, did say that what we lack today is Makhan Singh and Pio Pinto. And that was in 1992. So the contribution these two stalwarts made in Kenya is still being remembered. I don't think it has been forgotten. And I think that the situation in Kenya, we have to test it and judge it differently to other African countries in terms of how the trade union movements operate. In South Africa, there was massive industrialization of the country. So the trade union movement flourished there, was very strong, and they became very much a political wedge to drive out the apartheid system. In Kenya, there was a period when Kenya was quite powerful industrially, but only in Nairobi and certain bigger cities. But most of the Kenyans, from what I can remember, were living in rural areas. At the time of independence, Kenya's population was about 9 million. Today, it is 35 million plus. Okay? The trade union movement today in Kenya is at the lowest ebb. The reason for that is, like everywhere else in the world, we have seen multinational companies, globalization, people moving, big industrialists moving factories from one country to another where labor is cheaper. But not only that, there is migration into Kenya from other parts of Africa. And people are seeking cheaper labor at any expense. And that actually rules out any organized labor movement in a country like Kenya. Hence, Kenya is not the only country that is suffering from this kind of low trade union activities. It is experienced throughout Africa, throughout the world. And I think that if Makhan Singh was still alive today, he would possibly have seen the ups and downs of the world economic crisis, the situations, and I'm sure he would have made a judgment which wouldn't be a negative judgment, but a judgment that is in reality of what we are experiencing today. But we all have to be optimistic. You know, young people today are beginning to get engaged in different kind of political activities. And I just want to raise this point that young people are not passive. They are not saying no to politics. We don't trust. I think we experienced it last year in London during the G20 summit, how young people took things onto their own hands. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think we're going to have to stop now. We want to allow some time for you to talk informally and have some coffee and drinks. Can I say thank you so much to our speakers and to you for such a great discussion, for your contributions and insights and anecdotes. I know that Shiraz and the speakers will be keen to talk to you afterwards if you have some contributions that you'd like to make to the collection that Shiraz and others are putting together, then please do talk to them afterwards. And thank you again very much for coming.